Hello there.
Dialogue-Network-Aspire.
Empowered by DNA. Come on. Hey.
Dialogue-Network-Aspire.
Empowered by DNA.
Dialogue-Network-Aspire.
Empowered by DNA.
With Nikki. With Nikki. With Nikki.
Good morning. Bear with me one quick second here. I want to make sure that you all get to see it on both Empowered by Nikkei and also my personal page, which I think it really is on, but just want to make sure um, that you get it on Empowered by Nikkei as well. So um, now I should be everywhere I need to be this morning. So good morning. Happy Saturday to you. I hope you are well. And so we're going to have some good conversation this morning. And so welcome to Empowered by DNA with Nikkei. I am Nikkei. And we are talking dialogue, networking, aspire. And so hopefully the information that I do share with you is information that is useful to you. Okay. And so with that being said, we're going to get on into our discussion, but a few announcements. I have got to tell you about this. Have you registered yet? Have you registered yet? If you have not registered for the 2024 Women's Empowerment Weekend, I need you to do that today. Listen, we've got some great stuff planned for you. We are praying, we're fasting, we're putting this thing together in excellence according to the direction and leadership of God. And so we want you to be a part of this journey with us on July the 19th, 20th, and 21st. It's going to be literally amazing, a journey, powerful, life-changing, beautiful, sisterhood, all of that. We're going to have a ball. And so the best way that I would tell you to register is to visit our website at faithzoneministries.org. There's no www, just https // faithzoneministries.org, faithzoneministries. Okay. And so that's what we invite you to do. You can go on there. You can register as a weekend warrior. You can register for Friday. You can register for Saturday. It's completely up to you how you want to join, but we've got many options there. Okay. And then also, if you are a vendor, someone that has a small business, and you offer products that women would be interested in purchasing, we do invite you to also register. There's a link on our website as well. When you go to the website, just scroll down a little and you'll see the vendor link. You'll see the weekend registration link. Okay. So we definitely want to get you that information. Listen, register today because it's going to close. I mean, you can register at the door, but registering at the door, you won't have the swag bag. You won't have all that good stuff because, of course, we do that by head count. So listen, great swag bags, but most importantly, great word, great fellowship, great worship. We're going to have amazing. God is going to be there. And so I want you to register today. We have India Shatari leading us in worship on Friday night at 7 p.m. Pastor Bethany Heath coming with the word. On Saturday morning, we have the Orange Grove Missionary Baptist Church praise team coming to set the atmosphere. And if you've heard them, you know it's going to be off the chain. And then we have at 11 well, it'll be a little after 11. We start at 11 a.m. on Saturday morning. So following the praise and worship, we will have Elder Angela Newsome. I'm telling you, it is going to be amazing. She's going to empower us through worship. or show us how to be empowered through worship, if you will. And then we're going to have lunch. And then at 1 o'clock, Pastor Charlene Keat will come and deliver a mighty word. I'm telling you, I'm excited about this weekend. It's going to be fun. It's going to be the kind of weekend that where the girls come together, we get in our comfortable clothes, listen, be free, be loose, and that way we come together in sisterhood, fellowship, in the presence and under the presence of the Lord. And I tell you, I'm looking forward to it. So that's my commercial for this morning. Definitely go out and register if you have not. Again, faithzoneministries.org, $30 for the whole weekend, $15 per day. Trust me, the value of what you will get will far exceed what you spend. Okay. And so that is that. And then also just want to let you know that you just register. Once you register, you're done. We won't ask you for anything else. We don't need anything else from you. After that, when you come, we're ready to serve you. All right. Okay, so I'm excited. You can tell I'm always excited this time of the year, because we've been doing this a little over 20 years, so I'm excited. Also, let me put this plug in here, and then we'll get into the discussion. If you're one that is doing anything professionally, whether you work for someone else, you work in corporate America, you work in the medical field, wherever, or you have a business of your own, a podcast or whatever, and you don't have a professional headshot, please get one. Please get one. Selfies are great. I'm not taking anything from a selfie, but it's something about the presence of professional photography. It's something that they can do to give you that professional look. And so I do invite you to get that. And listen, I know a few photographers. If you're in this area, Jarvis Harris is one. Trier, I think it's Trier Photography is another. Let me know if you're interested. I can connect you with both of those. One of those, they're all amazing photographers. They just, come in different forms. It's an artwork, right? So each artist has its own way, but I've used both of them. I love both of them. I think they do an amazing job with photography. And then if you're in the Atlanta area, my baby sister is out there. And her name is Natalie. She has an amazing eye with photography as well. She's been doing some amazing stuff with infants and uh, uh, weddings and all types of stuff. All of these photographers that I've mentioned are amazing. And just depending on what area you live in and depending on what you want. So reach out to me if you need one and let's get your headshot. Okay. I think Jarvis was just running a special here I think it was last week before last. So definitely you want to get your headshot. Let's be professional in our appearance and in our flyers and advertisements and things that we put out there on our business cards, on our resumes, because that's real important. Okay. So if you don't have a photographer, please reach out to me and I'll be glad to get you one of those. Okay. So it's Saturday morning, and we're going to talk this morning about, and for those of my Podbean folks, I'm going to be on Podbean a little later today. I'll stream this there later. This morning, we're going to talk about failing gracefully. One of my favorite quotes talks about how important failure is to success, right? And even though it's important to fail, or the excuse me, failure has an important role in our successes, it doesn't always feel good, right? And so the topic this morning is failing gracefully, or how to fail gracefully. And I need to slow down so that you all can hear me this morning. So, failing gracefully, let's define that, okay? To fail gracefully means finding the lessons and virtues in a failure. We could just sit back there and say, wow, that's a lot. That's a lot, right? And definitely put your comments in the chat or whatever. I'll make sure here that I can see your chat, your comments, because I do love the engagement that you all have. So please feel free to chime in, whether you're on YouTube, whatever Facebook page you're on. I can see all of them. So definitely good morning to you. Don't be shy. Reach out to me. So failing gracefully means finding the lessons and virtues in the failure and applying them to future opportunities. Okay. So to just fail would be to sit in it, to not learn from it, and to be a repeat offender, if you will, on that particular type of failure. Okay. But to fail gracefully means that I've embraced the failure, and I'm going to learn from this moment of failing. And yes, while we're failing, or in the midst of considering ourselves a failure, or feeling that we failed at something, or that something has failed, whether it's a process, or getting our business up and running, or a conference, or church, or ministry, whatever it is, we may feel like in the moment we have failed. Okay. And it is painful. It is discouraging. Okay. When we fail, because success is what we all want, right? We want the benefits of success. We want to be successful. We want to succeed. We want to win. We want to reach our goal. And the only way to really do that, honestly, is by experiencing failure in some form. Okay. Because we're not born with the knowledge of everything, right? We're not born just because we have an assignment on our lives, just because we have a passion to be a photographer, or a nurse, or a doctor, or a teacher, or a preacher, or a missionary, or evangelist, or a entrepreneur. Maybe we are in clothing retail, or maybe we're in crafts and arts and stuff like that, or maybe we're in the arts and theater. And so if you ask any person right now that you admire, any famous person, if they've ever failed, they will probably laugh at you, because they will say, of course I have. Of course I have failed at something. It wasn't that from the beginning, it was just success, 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 right? But there's failure, success, failure, success, failure, success. And I think that failing gracefully is taking the thing that you learned and applying that to yourself. Being willing to say, I have failed. Whether I failed a lot, or I failed a little, but in this moment I failed. And what do I do? How do I come out of this? How do I utilize this moment where I have come up short? Okay. Um, Case in point, in my career, at work, I guess I feel like sometimes multiple careers, right? Multiple things that we do. But in my on my day job, if you will, I had put something in place, and I was so excited about it. I had a little theme for it, and hashtag, and oh, we're gonna do this thing. And it didn't work out. It didn't quite go the way I wanted it to. In ministry, I have the same story, and I'm sure my husband could share his story, right? Same story. Great idea. We see it coming into play. God, you called us into this thing. Ooh, we got this. We got this. Oh, it's going to be on fire. It's going to happen. It's going to be successful. And we go full speed ahead and run right into the first wall of failure. And we can do one of two things in that moment, right? We can let it break us, let it stop us, let it cause us to be paralyzed in fear. We can back up off of it. We can decide we're going to go a different direction. We can just all together throw our hands up. I give up. I'm not doing this anymore. We can quit. We can throw in the towel. We can surrender. There are so many things we can do in the moment of failure. But what I've come to talk to you about this morning is give you a few tips in how to fail gracefully. Because remember, the gracefulness in failure is you taking something back from it, right? So you're saying, I failed, but how did I fail? And at work, they have this thing called fail fast, right? Basically, I look at it as fall fast. Fall, get up. If you're when you're out on the beach, right, and the waves knock you down, you don't just kind of lay there and drown, right? You hurry up and get up and get out of the way, and get ready for the next wave, right? And so that's how we should do in our failing. Failing gracefully is get up. Let's brush ourselves off. Let's digest what it is we did wrong. How do we fix this? How do we not have this happen again? How do we learn from the error? Because I'm gonna tell you, in the moment of failure, whether you're failing gracefully or just failing, it never leaves you feeling great. Okay, the first initial feeling of failure is not, oh, I failed gracefully. I feel so good about that. Thank you for letting me fail. No, that is not how we feel. We normally feel stress. We feel a bit of depression coming on. Sometimes we if we're not careful, we'll beat ourselves up over and over again about it. If we're not careful, we will blame ourselves. We'll not forgive ourselves. We won't let it go, and ultimately we become bitter or angry. And that's where we begin to give up. Right? That's when we begin to say, maybe this is not what I'm supposed to do. Maybe it's not working out for me. And I'll give another good example, and then we'll get into the tips of how you fail gracefully. So one testimony I have is actually women's empowerment. I told you we've been doing this now for over 20 years. And when my first one, excuse me, I was, I didn't do as well as I thought I thought I should have. And that's another thing about success. We got to understand that success has many different faces, and success is not always 5,000 people coming to your event. Success is not always you're going to be a trillionaire right off the bat, right? Because we know Amazon is what, the $2 trillion business now. I think it's $2 trillion business. And they didn't get there overnight, right? The ministries and like I said, the people that you admire, they didn't get where they are like overnight. They didn't wake up and say, I'm successful today. They failed. I promise you, they failed, and they failed multiple times. But the difference in them and a person that doesn't succeed is they learned from their failure. They didn't sit in it. They didn't waddle in it. They got up and they said, okay, what did I do wrong? And how can I not do that again? Okay. So here's some quick tips for failing gracefully. Accept it. It is what it is. And sometimes it's a hard pill to digest. I've been there. It's not easy to swallow when you have failed, because it's human nature, right? Our human parts of us don't want to fail. We don't like bad feelings. We don't like to be angry. We don't like to hate. We don't like to not succeed. We don't like any negative thing, no matter what people say. Nobody wants to fail. Nobody wants to make a mistake. Nobody wants to do wrong, at least get caught doing wrong, right? So nobody wants that. They want the positive things. We come out wanting great things. We want to succeed. And so the first thing you've got to do is accept it, because accepting it is acknowledging that I failed. It's looking at yourself in the mirror and saying, Nichole, it did not go like you thought it would. You did not do well with this at all. You did not present this in excellence, or for whatever reason, your followers didn't want to listen to it, or the people were not as engaged as you wanted them to be. So you have to accept it, accept that it happened, and how you react in that moment makes a big difference, right? Because remember, I told you, if you deny that it happened, in other words, oh, it was successful, it did what I wanted it to do, then you're lying to yourself. And so you're not going to learn anything, right? But if you accept it, acknowledge it, acknowledge, I have failed, I made a mistake, or I could have done it better, I should have started earlier, I should have uh not reach so high for the stars. Maybe I need to take baby steps instead of large giant steps. But acknowledge that I messed up, and this is how I messed up. Okay. Then you want to reflect. It means you want to look back on what it is that you did. Consider why things didn't go as planned and what you can learn from that experience. Why didn't it go well? What did I do wrong? Again, I'm accepting that I failed, and now I am reflecting on the why, or the how, or the when, or the what. so that I can not do it again, because that's where my learning is going to be, right? So I'm going to learn from the experience through reflection. I'm going to look back and say to myself, ooh, this was a rough one. Um, what went wrong, or how did I go wrong, or why did I go wrong, or and so you want to ask these questions to yourself. And I would say, when you are dealing with failure, I don't know that I would call my friend right away and say, "Hey, I failed," and da da da. But I think the best way to fail gracefully is to sit there for a moment in quiet and just really reflect on, from A to Z. When I started this process, I started here. Now, what went wrong from point A to point D? Where did I go wrong? Where did I fall short? Once you identify that, then you want to move on and start to change that, okay? You want to make changes. Again, identifying your areas for improvement, implement the change for future, to prevent future failures. So if you know that you've planned an event and you wanted 100 people, but in the past you've never had 100 people, then maybe you need to scale back a bit. Or maybe the issue that you had with your project, your process, your event, or what have you, is that you procrastinated and you waited too late to start. So in the future, you'll start planning. Okay, you'll start planning better so that you can execute it in excellence, and not uh, fail at it royally. Okay, and so you want to identify the areas for improvement. You want to practice gratitude, so celebrate the insights and knowledge that you gained. Acknowledge the effort. Listen, I tried. Who I gave it my best, and yes, I failed, but I'm gonna celebrate I'm gonna celebrate the small wins that I had, because maybe this is my first year doing this. Hello, empowered by DNA. It's my first year. I don't know. I know that I have failures. I have moments of shortcomings the way that I may want to. But listen, I'm going to celebrate the small wins. Maybe the small win is I've not given up yet. Maybe the small win is whether I have one or none, I'm going to get on here every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. and give it my best. So I'm going to celebrate my small wins as I reflect on what I could do better. Basically, if you want to look at it that way, and what I need to execute it in more excellent way, or how I can execute it better, right? And so you want to accept it, you want to reflect on it, and then you want to make changes. Okay, so whatever you've reflected that needs to change, you want to then make that change. And then you want to practice what? Gratitude. For those of you who are believers like me, you're saying, "Thank you, Jesus. Thank you." Like I said this week, "Thank you, Lord. I made it through the week." It's been a rough, very trying week for me. And I tell you what, I just said, "God, I thank you. I thank you for letting me make it through this week." I celebrated the small wins that I had. I reflected, and so now be compassionate. This is a biggie, okay? Be compassionate. Give yourself grace. Give yourself permission to feel and practice self compassion. Sometimes we are our biggest critic. I am my biggest critic. I probably am the hardest on myself. And we need to give ourselves permission, okay, to be compassionate with ourselves, to have compassion on us. Give ourselves some grace. We're gonna fail. It's okay. The problem is not in the failing, it's how you recover from the failure. That's the biggie. It's not the failing. And so give yourself permission to be compassionate, to have compassionate on you, right? We can be compassionate for everybody else. "Oh, girl, it's okay. Don't even worry about it. Oh, my brother, you're going to be fine. Oh, it's no problem. Oh, it'll be all right. It's just a thing." But when it comes to us, sometimes we don't give ourselves permission to be compassionate with ourselves, to say, listen, Nichole, you did the best you could do, girl. And I'm not making excuses for you, but you did the best you could do. And so what we're going to do is just pick ourselves up, and we're going to do it better the next time, or we're going to do better the next time, or we're going to get stronger in this area so that the next time this opportunity comes around, we're ready for it. We're ready to go. Okay. So be compassionate. Give yourself permission to feel and practice self compassion. Okay. Don't compare. That's a big one. Don't compare. Stop comparing. Run your race. I've told you this before. Don't look at what someone else is doing over here, but focus on what you've got going on. Listen, even though I have a podcast and 15,000 other people have a podcast, or I have a ministry and 35,000 other people have a ministry, because I sell women's clothing and there are 15,000 other people that sell women's clothing, because I have a business and there are 100,000 other people that have businesses. Listen, my business is my business and theirs is theirs. I cannot compare myself to somebody else. I cannot look at myself and say, why are you not like her? Why are you not like him? That is not where we want to go with this. We want to stay away from comparison. Okay. It's detrimental. It will kill you. It will break you down. It will leave you chasing your tail around and around when you try to compare yourself to somebody else. That's why I celebrate other people. I celebrate their successes because I really am proud of them, and I'm proud of their journey. And I understand that the road they took, maybe I couldn't handle it. That's why I'm not there. Or maybe it's just not my time yet. Maybe they've been in it 40 years and I'm just getting started. So I don't compare myself. I am who I am. And you've got to love yourself enough to be okay with who you are, to be content. Even though I'm growing and I'm learning, I'm developing in different areas, I'm evolving, right? We're all evolving as we age. Still be content. I'm content where I am. I'm content with me. And I know that me is going to grow and change and learn, but I'm not going to compare myself to the next sister or brother. So avoid comparing yourself to others and try to notice the positive. Give yourself a pat on the back. Give yourself a hand. Love yourself. Listen, girl, you did it. You're doing it. And I'm so proud of you. Listen, my brother, you did it. You're doing it. And I'm proud of you. And it may not be to the level you want to be yet. Maybe you don't have the 100,000 people purchasing your product. Maybe your seats in your ministry are not overflowing. But what I've learned is I can't look over here and say, well, why they got it and I don't have it. That's the wrong attitude. I've learned the hard way. That is really the wrong attitude. Be grateful for what you have and be a good steward over what you have, and then God will ultimately give you increase. Okay, if that is what and that's the other thing. Maybe you have what you're supposed to have, and you're looking at it all wrong. I think when we try to bring quantity to everything quickly, we're looking at it wrong. If it's a good product, it eventually will get multiple people will share and tell, and after a while, everybody wants it, and it'll end up on TikTok at some point or whatever. But you got to keep going through the journey. You got to keep giving it your best, but don't do comparison. Don't compare yourself like a product. Don't compare yourself like you're one cup and I'm another and I'm bigger than you. No, 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 no. This is your journey. Run your race. Remember, we talked about that. Run your race. Shift your perspective. So when we fail, we've got to think about it differently. We don't need to let failure define us or try to, we need to try to find the silver lining in it, right? So shift our perspective. Think differently. Don't look at it. What was it? The glass is half full, half empty. So don't look at the glass as being half empty. Look at the glass as being half full. Look at it as a lesson and not a destruction. Because I think sometimes we're like, that's it. I'm done. I'm not doing this no more. I can't seem to get it right. Don't look at it like that. Look at failure as a lesson learned. Okay. And that's how you fail gracefully. Look at it as a lesson learned. It's your perspective. It's how we think about it. It's what is going on in our mind at the time it happens. And if we're conscious, and I'm telling you, in life, you have to be conscious. You have to put forth conscious effort. think about it. Yes, I don't feel good in this moment. I just wish this day would pass. I wish I could get beyond this moment right here. I am so upset with myself. I know better. I should have done better. I should have started early. I should have saved the money, whatever it is. I'm so upset. But you've got to change your perspective when you begin to feel less than, when you see yourself beating yourself up. And it's not always easy. And that's why I always tell you, go talk to somebody, get a counselor. I'm not one, okay, but get a counselor. And when you feel, if you feel that you're in a moment of failure and you can't seem to come out of the beating yourself up or depression, or you want to go, sit in a little hole and just sit there and waddle in it. Listen, stop, stop, stop. Don't do that. Change the perspective. Look at it differently. I have not done what I wanted to do, and this is why, and it is okay. I am human. I'm going to brush myself off. I'm going to give myself permission to be compassionate on me, and I'm going to do it again. But this time I'm going to do it better, and I have learned from my mistakes. And so that's how I'm going to fail gracefully. Lastly, surround yourself with positive people. Surround yourself with positive people. Avoid isolating yourself and try to find inspiration. Listen, every day I find inspiration for me personally in the Word of God, and I find inspiration sometimes in quotes as well. It may be a quote that just really motivates me or reminds me. I have calendars literally with quotes on them. Like for the month of June, it was slow down and enjoy life. That was on my calendar. And so I utilize those things to encourage me and inspire me. And I surround myself with positive thinking people that are not so quick to judge, people that are not so quick to beat me down while I'm down, but that will encourage me, because that, my friends, is empowerment. When you can come together and encourage each other, not envy each other, not be jealous of each other, not want what the other has, covet the other stuff, if you will, but to literally come together, join, and pat each other on the back. Listen, I know it wasn't what you thought it would be, but I thought it was good. And I thought that was great for your first time. And don't worry about it. It'll get better as you come along. And how can I help you? Something I can do the next time so you don't have to have so much on you. Or this is a tip that I use when I failed at it. So you want to be around people that can deposit. Thank you so much, Miss Singleton. You want to be around somebody that can deposit encouragement into you, encourage you. And that's empowerment. I use empowerment all the time. And I finally was like, well, what is it really? That's what it is. It's somebody giving you the power and the permission to be okay in your less than perfect moment. A person that will give you safety and security to have this moment of failure and to cry, and then that's the very same person that says to you, okay, that's enough. Pick yourself up, brush yourself off. We got to keep it moving. We can't stay here in this place. And so I uh I encourage you today, if you are in a moment of failure, that you can fail gracefully. And it's okay. Listen, I'm telling you from my own personal experience, time and time and time and time again, that failure is necessary. If you want to succeed, if you want to be successful, if that's really what you want, then understand you also are asking to fail, because you'll never succeed if you don't have a moment of failure. You've got to have a moment of learning. And that's what failure is. It's a lesson to get you to that next level. Because if we could go from the womb to the top level, that would be very interesting. That would make us perfect. But because we're imperfect people, we do have lessons that we need to learn along the way. And so that's what failure is. It's a lesson that we learn along the way. So remember, accept the failure, acknowledge that it happened, reflect. Reflect why, what, when, how did this happen? How did we get here? Make changes, identify your areas of weakness, turn those into your strengths. Identify how you can execute the thing better, stronger. You want to practice gratitude. All right. I'm thankful. I'm going to celebrate these small wins. I didn't do it the way I wanted to do it, but I did it. That's a celebration. Listen, this podcast has not been exactly how I wanted to flow, but I'm doing it. Yay, me. So, yay, you. You did it. You're doing it. You're moving. You're being persistent. The persistence is worth the celebration. Celebrate that. Practice gratitude. Be compassionate. Give yourself permission to be okay with your failure. Give yourself some grace. Be compassionate with you as well as you are with everybody else. Give yourself, extend yourself that same grace. Don't compare. Stop comparing. You are you and I am me, and we're all in this thing together, and we're all having our individual failures. So that's why we run our own race. We have those blinders like those horses, so we don't see what's going on over here. We can only see our goal, our end goal. That's what we're working towards and moving towards. And my race may run a little slower than yours or a little faster than yours. We're going to celebrate each other, though, while we're running our own race, but we're not going to compare ourselves to each other, okay? And then shift our perspective. We're going to not look at failure as a bad thing, but we're going to look at failure as a stepping stone, the thing that's going to get us where we want to go, right? So we're going to change this mind thought process in how we look at failure, okay? We're not going to look at the end all be all. It's not, this is it, I failed, this means I must stop, but rather this means I must persist even more. This means I must really reach for my goal. It didn't look like it this time, but it's going to look better the next time and the next time, right? So we are going to shift how we think about failure. Failure does not define you. Because you failed, you are not a failure, okay? It doesn't define you. I'm not a failure. I failed, but I'm not a failure. Okay. And then we're going to surround ourselves with positive people, positive things, inspirational things. We are not going to settle and sit in any type of failure, no matter what. And again, we are not defined by our circumstance. My husband has an amazing song. If you get an opportunity, and I'm getting ready to close, Oracles of a Worshiper. It's on YouTube, Apple, iTunes, Google, to wherever you get your music. But you can go on YouTube and listen to it for no cost. But it's called "I'm Not My Circumstance," and I love it. And I tell you why I love that song, because it says just that I am not a failure. It has not defined me. My error, my mistake did not define me. It doesn't define who I am. And if it was to define me, I'll say this. If it does define me, it's going to define me as a warrior. It's going to define me as a survivor. It's going to define me as somebody that doesn't give up, that is persistent. So if it defines me, it won't be a negative definition, but a positive definition, because somehow I'm going to take this moment that should destroy me, that should stop me, to turning it into a moment of victory. And you can do that with failure. So that's failing gracefully. That's failing gracefully. And we know so many people that fail gracefully. The very movie star, singer, a songwriter, a designer that you admire, they failed gracefully. And that is why they are here. And that is why they have achieved the things they have achieved. If they could, if failure was a person, we would thank God first and then thank failure. Okay. Because failure is what builds us. That's our character right there. So I pray that this has been an empowering message for you this morning. I did go just a little bit over time, but I thank you for hanging there with me. Shalonda Singleton, I love you, my dear. I love your comments. Thank you so much. And I pray that we share this message, spread the word, tell somebody. You can fail gracefully, and you are not defined by this moment. Okay. I love you all so very much. If you have not registered for Women's Empowerment 2024, please register. I am begging for you, not for me, because it is an amazing, amazing weekend full of fellowship, sisterhood, worship. We come loving each other. We come empowering each other. We come with an attitude that we want the best for our sister. Listen, be empowered today. We've had some amazing dialogue. Remember, fail gracefully. Learn from it. It doesn't define you. I love you all. Have an amazing Saturday. Look to see you next week. Bye. Hello there.
Dialogue-Network-Aspire.
Powered by DNA. Come on. Hey.
Dialogue-Network-Aspire.
Powered by DNA.
Dialogue-Network-Aspire.
Powered by DNA.
With Nikkei. With Nikkei.